We like to call it the Supernatural Hour. And now, our hosts.
Hey, welcome to the Supernatural Hour. This is your host, Ravyn, and with us is
Rogue,
Chad,
and Klaus.
And we're super excited to be here. So let's just take care of some business, get it out of the way really quick.
For the business. We also have a new investigation coming up. It's the Barbary Coast Saloon in, is it Sandy or Draper or South Salt Lake?
I think that's considered Murray right there. 4100 South State.
I would say Murray.
Murray. So we're excited on that. It's going to be a witching hour, start at 2 a.m. kind of event.
And if you have never been to a witching hour event, those can get crazy.
Make sure you take a nap before you get there. So
Yes.
And that's the night of the 18th, going into the 19th, that Friday night going into Saturday morning.
Yes.
So it's really an early Saturday morning investigation. Be aware of that, and we're looking forward to having a really fun time there.
Yeah, we did kind of a preliminary investigation there just to make sure it was haunted. And, you know, the stories from the employees and the patrons there, you know, we knew it was haunted, but it's like, let's make sure we get some activity because we don't want to take people there and have it be a dud. And I think it's going to be hot. It's going to be hopping.
we had a lot of activity just in the few minutes that we were there, from being touched, whispered, to other things that we had going on. So
Right. And we only investigated, and I'm just going to use my air quotes there, not very long, 15, 20 minutes?
right. And then we did go in for dinner beforehand. So we had a little bit of time upstairs to have a little bit of experience.
Right. So it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Hey, and they've got a really good little flat iron steak on Thursday nights.
Oh, and steak. Now, I'm a steak person. They have a cream cheese stuffed pretzel drizzled with chocolate and caramel.
She gets it every time we go there.
Every time.
And I do believe they're going to do some kind of a food buffet, simple-ish. That could be something we could request, maybe, for them to have some of those out there.
They're at least going to have one for me.
Yeah, but that is going to be part of the entrance fee, is that they will have a little
buffet.
A buffet, finger foods, and
Yeah,
you know.
it is going to be 2, 3, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning when we're out there. So it's not going to be a heavy meal.
Right.
But, you know, just something to snack on to help keep you awake.
The fryers will be closed, so there'll be some Red Bull, some coffee, some potato chips. That all sounds so delicious.
Soft drinks.
Yeah. Well, and then they gave us they said they'd have some, right before they turn the fryers off, they'll cook some, French fries and fried foods.
There we go.
Problem with
All
that
right.
is, French fries are only good when they're warm. If they're going to be sitting in there for a few hours before you get to
You
them.
got to eat it fast.
Well, get in
It'll be
there,
good.
eat, and then let's investigate. So make sure to join us for that one. All right, so here we are for residentials. And honestly, it's been some really nice weather here in Utah. People are getting out. With people getting out, people
Nicer.
are
It's
not
still pretty
noticing.
cold.
Well, it was 80 degrees a couple of weeks ago, so
But then it was
people
also like 43.
are getting out.
Spring in Utah is bipolar,
That definitely is.
not
Yeah.
on medication.
It was so beautiful the night that we did the Union Square investigation.
Right.
It was you didn't even need a jacket that night. It was beautiful, and now you go out in the 3:00 in the afternoon and it's 50 degrees and you're wind blowing and you're shivering.
Exactly. So, as Chad mentioned, the Union Square investigation. So, we haven't had any residentials, but we had our big public investigation, and that went really well. I was only in part of the investigation, so down where I was able to take my group, we were able to get EVPs. We got some really good tracers. That was a really good investigation for us on our part. And then Ravyn had her team over in a different area, and they had some really good experiences.
So we were over, there's one of the buildings, we had the whole building is empty with maybe 1 or 2 offices on the 3rd floor. And I guess the 2nd floor, there's like a basement, main floor upstairs.
Right.
And we went upstairs, and it was really quiet. There was just nothing up there. So we actually went back down to the basement. But the basement, there was all sorts of stuff going on. We got great EVPs. We got some really awesome photographs. People
Tell them
were
about
getting
the one with
touched.
the blue flare thing you had.
Right. So in one of the rooms where we were getting the most activity, and just everybody that went down there went towards this room and just said, "Ooh, this room's really creepy." And, you turn your phone on and you're seeing, like we've talked about before, you watch which direction the dust goes in, and then you watch for things that are different from the dust. And then anything that's kind of cigar shaped, and you can tell bugs, you can tell how bugs move. But so you watch for things that aren't dust and aren't bugs. And we were getting a lot of it, and I'm taking pictures. And when I take pictures, I could take 50 pictures and maybe only get 2 or 3, snapshots of these tracers. And this one that we got, because we kept getting, through the dowsing rods and through the Ghost Meter Pro, we were getting that there was a child there. And I think it was a little boy. And one of these pictures that I have, and I will put it up on our Facebook page here soon.
And we'll try to tie it in on the YouTube also at
Right.
the same time as we're talking about this. So
There's this little, it almost looks like a head peeking around the corner, and it's blue. And I've never gotten a blue, when I say orb, I use that word very lightly. I never get a blue orb or, just a
Tracer?
tracer, or just you can see the tracer, but when you get the photo, you just see part of it. You just see, just the one split second.
And it's
shot
pretty
of it.
solid. And when you go in to get a more detailed look, you can really kind of get some details within that picture.
Right, and the thing about it is it's blue, and usually they're either gray or maybe white or maybe a little bit yellowish, but this one's blue, and there's nothing down there that would have reflected blue. It's a completely empty building.
Yeah, and that room, as being a completely empty room, everyone kept walking through the center of that room thinking we were running into some construction wall or some type of material, and it was just an empty room.
Now, there had been a wall there. You can see where they had taken the wall out, but you didn't know that until you turned the light on in the room. But yeah, several people would go out and around to get on the other side, and I'd think, why did you do that? And they're like, well, there's a wall there. I'm like, no, there's not.
Interesting. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like being a ghost.
That is a
Walk
creepy little
through where
building.
walls were.
It's a ghost wall. They could sense its presence.
Exactly. So, but the thing about that venue is it was enormous. There were so many places to go. And just the way it worked out, I was in that first building the whole time. We are definitely going to go back there.
Yeah, well, don't forget. So you were in the first building, and then I took them over to the other, and then we pulled the teams together, and we went up to the mirror.
And that mirror, that's where we got the really good EVP.
Yes.
And we got some really creepy pictures in that mirror. And it's a portal.
Right?
And there's what did we name him?
Oh,
I forgot his name. We'll remember his name. We gave him a name, and he wasn't really happy that we were chatting with him.
He was not. He was not. But he stuck around, and he was entertaining us for quite some time.
I'll have to go listen to the EVP because, was it Lester? We
I
called him
think
Lester.
that's what I was thinking of when you said that.
It's Lester, because in the EVP, I'm asking him if he likes the name Lester, which he doesn't, and that's right
And
after.
that's why you use it?
Yeah.
Uncle Lester?
Yes.
Adam's family?
That's Fester.
Oh, my bad.
Close.
Yeah. And in the EVP, you hear me say something like, can we call you Lester? Do you like that name? And it's just right after that we get a
Some
growl.
kind of a little noise, and you go, did somebody just whisper?
Yeah, and I didn't hear it. And I don't think you heard it either because
No,
you were
I
up
was
by
down
me.
in the staircase, yeah.
It was because it was a kind of a long, skinny hallway, and so it was the people that were further down the hallway that heard it.
Yeah. So we've got that, and we had our team with us that had the videographer. So we've got some video coming out on that one.
Right. And you were in a staircase that had an interesting fellow on it.
We do have a staircase over in the building that I had taken the team to. A young man who took his life a few years ago, and he really liked his place of employment. And he is not going to leave and wants to hang out, and he was quite entertaining. He would entertain at the Ghost Pro, the K2. He was giving everybody photos. He grabbed my butt. He was entertaining.
Rogue got a little action.
I did, and well, Rogue's single, so
It's not going to end up like last week's episode where you're getting married to a ghost. Just
I'm not that pathetic yet. Give me some time.
No, so that was a good investigation. If you missed it, you missed really a great one. And we, like I said a minute ago, we are definitely going to go back there.
Yeah, maybe we can go back this fall or something.
The guests really enjoyed it. I heard a lot of extremely positive comments about it. And that was the first time we'd ever investigated there.
Right. And there was one area, maybe, I think, did you go? There was one area when we did kind of our preliminary investigation, we ran across a lady from the 1800s. Did we ever get to that section?
So my team went up there at very first, and so many stairs. So the first team, we went up there, and there was no activity. There was nothing. She didn't come out to talk to us. We weren't getting anything. So when the second team came, we really focused on the young man that really wanted to play the show for us. So we didn't go back up.
Oh, and Rogue, there's a really cool shop there. What's that shop?
That shop would be Utah Freeze Dried for Pets / Rescue Pets Bathhouse. We like them.
We like them a lot.
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
And that was one of our meeting spots. So to any of our people that were there, don't forget us.
So yeah, super cool investigation. We're excited to go back, and we're excited for our summer season. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
All right, so...
Oh, we are working on figuring out what we're going to do for our Insiders event this summer. We're working on some things there. So that's only going to be available to insiders. So if you'd like to attend that, become an insider. We'll get some information about what that's going to be. And with that, you can bring yourself and a number of other people, and there's no cost of that for our insiders.
Is that our Patreons?
Yes, our patrons are our insiders.
Thank you.
We give them a fancy name.
I like that.
Klaus, I want to hear a bucket list from you.
a bucket list. Well, let's see. Bucket list wise, a place that I would love to go. Not that I would love to go to France per se, but the catacombs.
Definitely.
One of the movies that I've watched recently, that's kind of a creepy movie to watch. It's a documentary kind of style movie. It's not like a real documentary.
It's a documentary. We can't get away from a podcast without talking about the documentaries.
It's not like The Beard. It's not like Blackbeard's Ghost, okay? But kind of is. It's called As Above, So Below. It deals a lot with the Sorcery Stone, right? Or
the Philosopher's Stone?
yeah, Philosopher's Stone. Thank you. I used Harry Potter. They changed the name in the Harry Potter. Anyways, the Philosopher's Stone. It deals a lot with that and where that is buried. Premise of the movie is you follow the protagonist, and her father had been looking for it and had some clues, and it all starts in like the Middle East, and she finds another clue hidden behind a wall that's getting ready to be blown up, gets it translated, finds out that it's in the catacombs, and it's below. There's a lot of symbolism, a lot of like really important numbers and details and why they're at this depth. I can't remember the exact footage. It's somewhere like 146 feet below, under the earth, essentially. And the reason why is because that's when hell starts, essentially. It's really interesting. It gets pretty trippy. I believe it's rated R, but it has a lot of interesting dynamic, a lot of interesting information on the Philosopher's Stone and the creator, which I can't think of his name right now. One of those famous, Renaissance people that did alchemy and crap. But
was he one of the turtles, Leonardo?
No, it's not Leonardo. It's not Michelangelo. It's not Donatello. It's not Raphael.
Nicholas Flamel is the one who.
That they do mention that name. No, they do because
Do
it's an actual person. Nicholas Flamel is an actual
I thought
chemist.
it was just a Harry Potter.
No, it's
person.
not a Harry Potter. It's an actual Renaissance
Alchemist?
alchemist.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
that's actually based off a real person
See,
in Harry
I
Potter.
learned something today.
But they do mention Nicholas Flamel a few times, and I want to say Nostradamus for some weird reason, but I don't.
Might not be.
I can't remember his name, and that's sad because I should know.
I have just seen pictures of the Paris catacombs and just the stacks of skulls, and it just, I would love to go
But
there.
anyways, so yeah, sorry.
You're fine.
They mentioned that it's in France, and they have to go through the catacombs to his gravesite. And I wish I remembered his name, but I can't think of it.
So in the documentary, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, was that the French catacombs or were they in the Italian catacombs? When they find X marks the spot.
I want to say
Was that French? So if you're looking at catacombs and
I don't know.
looking for movies, you might want to take a look at Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade when they're looking for the clues. Sounds kind of like what Klaus was just describing, but I don't remember if that was in France or Italy. But there were catacombs, and they are cool.
No, that is a very cool one. Okay, so paranormal junk drawer, and when we get our soundboard with the funky sounds, I want a sound of rattling through the junk drawer. And hopefully we can get through this one without hysterical laughter for 15 minutes straight.
Well, are we going to talk about a picnic table?
No,
Okay.
no. So we're going to talk about cursed items, though. So
Okay.
the picnic table was haunted. These things are cursed.
Okay.
And they're not all in the same museum. These are just different random museums across the world. So there's a haunted wedding dress. And the story behind this goes back to about the mid-1800s. It revolves around this girl. She's a rich girl, and her name was Anna Baker. And in about 1849, she fell in love with someone of the upper class. Or no, let me take that back. She was in the upper class. She fell in love with someone not in her class, a lowly iron worker, and her family said, nope, you can't marry him. You got to marry someone in your class. We all know, when does this stop? True love. Mommy and Daddy say no. You hear it all the time. They went about planning the wedding anyway, and she even bought a dress, but their plans were just ruined when her dad found out about the secret wedding and he squashed it. She went out she never got married. She was like, if I can't have him, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not going to get married. She died in 1914. She was very bitter, very reclusive. And the dress is now kept in her old house, which has been turned into a museum. And it said that it'll move around on its own or change positions in its display case when no one's around. And they think that it's inhabited by her restless spirit.
Interesting.
So there's that one. There's a cursed chair. And the cursed chair is at the Thirsk Museum in the UK. And it apparently belonged to a convicted murderer whose name was Thomas Bugsby. You know the Big Bang Theory when Sheldon has his spot on the couch? So this is a case of that is my spot on steroids. Because apparently Thomas's father-in-law sat in Thomas's favorite chair without permission, and Thomas killed him.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he was even a little more into it than Sheldon.
Yeah. This is, like I said, on steroids. And so Thomas was executed by hanging in 1702, but before he was executed, he was granted a last wish, and his wish was to sit in his chair and have a drink and a meal at the local pub while he was sitting in it. So he did, and just as, he finishes dinner, says goodbye to the lads at the pub, goes off, but before he leaves, he stands up, he looks at the chair, and proclaimed from that moment on, anyone who sat in his chair would meet an untimely end. It's like, not only is my father-in-law not going to sit in it, no one's going to sit in my chair ever. Yeah, so hardcore Sheldon, that's my spot moment going on here. So after that, the lore says that anyone who has sat in the chair has been the victim of some freak accidental death.
But not a tree falling on them.
No.
And
No,
it's a
well, not
chair
really.
in a pub, so random people are sitting out on it all the time?
So that was his last wish, was to sit on it while he was in the pub. But this curse is supposedly so intense and so real that when this chair was donated to a museum in 1972, they've hung it above the ground from the ceiling high enough that people can't get into it because they don't want people to sit in it and die. So apparently it's a thing.
Apparently patrons in the bar were dying.
Yep, like
Wow.
they'd sit in it and have a heart attack. We're in England. Let's move up to Scotland. This dates to about, it says 3500. I'm going to assume it's 3500 BC. It's just a little statue. It's a little figurine, and it's said to be a representation of some goddess of fertility. They're not sure which one. Its modern nickname is the goddess of death.
fertility and death are kind of opposites.
Kind of polar opposites.
Kind of,
I don't
other
write
ends of
this.
the spectrum here.
I don't write this. I just read it. So the statue itself was dug up in Lem, Cyprus in 1878. It was called the Woman from Lem at first. The goddess of death came later. It just kind of got this history of anybody who owned it died. It started with a fellow named Lord Elfont. He got the statue. He hadn't had it for very long when 7 people in his family just died in quick succession. And then the next owner, Ivor Minucci, he had it. People died in his family. And then it ended with a man by the name of Sir Alan Beaverbrook. And he died along with his wife and 2 daughters when he owned it. So then the 2 sons of the last victim, who somehow didn't die from this, donated it to a museum. And the curator of the museum died within a year of handling it. So they keep it behind glass, no one touches it. And no one really knows much about it.
Interesting. Are we sure it doesn't have some sort of weird disease or like virus on it, and that's why when people handle it, they die?
See, that's what I would think. Because there's no story.
Interesting.
Maybe someone took her spot.
Maybe someone took her spot.
There's another one. There's a museum that just has a lot of unusual haunted and cursed objects. There's some paranormal investigators by the name of Dana and Greg Newkirk. And they call this the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal. And I think we've discussed this a little bit in the Wacky Paranormal News years and years ago when Castle did that. But one of the items is an old iron pike. And it's about 1.5 feet in length. And it was originally found at a haunted mine in Oregon called the Crescent Mine. And they think that the rod is a drill and that the owner was crushed to death by a cave-in. And when they investigated it, they did get some EVPs of a man's voice saying, "Tell Jennifer I'm sorry." And they've seen shadow figures lurking around it. For this traveling paranormal museum, they say it's probably one of the weirdest haunted objects out there. I mean, a dress makes sense, chairs make sense. A mining drilling rod, that is a weird one. So the same museum, they have a conjuring drum, which supposedly belonged to a voodoo family in Detroit, and it has the power to conjure up dark spirits.
Voodoo in Detroit's a little weird. Usually associate voodoo with like New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Detroit, because you got to branch out a little bit.
And we did an episode a little while ago on voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
So go back and check that out.
Hoodoo?
Voodoo.
You do.
Doo-doo.
Oh, no reference there.
No, I
Labyrinth.
I was trying
David
to.
Bowie.
I was trying to come up with that last line, and I couldn't come up with it. Remind me of a man.
The Babe. Oh,
You remind me of a babe
remind me of a babe.
Remind me of a babe.
in Labyrinth.
So who did that originally? It was I can see his face.
The actor.
Mm-hmm.
David Bowie.
No, but David Bowie borrowed it from an older movie, like in the 1950s
Cary
or
Grant.
60s. Thank you.
Ah.
Yeah, Cary Grant actually did it first.
I've learned a lot about movies on this podcast as well. A lot of movie references.
The Supernatural Hour and documentary.
Documentary.
Okay, we have one more haunted item, or cursed item. Okay, so we've talked about some weird stuff. We'll even kind of reference back to our last podcast with a picnic table. There is a National Museum of the Paranormal in West Virginia. They've got your normal stuff. They've got, dolls and things. But they have a haunted Dr. Seuss book.
When I think haunting, I think Dr. Seuss.
I was going to say, we were talking about curses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not haunts, and how haunts and curses are different.
Yes.
So for me, I was like, is this a cursed Dr. Seuss book or is it a haunted
So-
Dr. Seuss book?
That's a good question. So this is all one article. And the way it puts it here, it says, the one that takes the cake has to be none other than a haunted Dr. Seuss book. So apparently it was owned by a family who claimed that every time their daughter read it, there could be heard children's voices whispering in the dark, as well as the potent sense of being watched.
That sounds more like a haunting than a curse.
It's definitely more haunting.
It was found to have come from a house where there had been a quadruple homicide, and that a red stain on the cover of the book was from blood. But needless to say, no one's been reading it lately.
Lately.
Yeah, so...
Which I was going to say, also the drilling pike. If the miner were to curse a drilling pike, that's a little odd. I cursed this pike before I die.
Right. So even though the article was about cursed objects, I think really only one was actually cursed that we know of.
Well, the
others
dress
would be
the dress
hauntings.
could have been cursed, but it could have been cursed by the father being mad at
Right.
her secretly getting married.
And a curse can be just intent. I mean,
True.
where Anna was so bitter that just her negative intent could curse it.
Without a direct, I'm trying to set a curse out, but just her
Just her angst.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, paranormal junk drawer. There you go.
Get your Supernatural Hour swag at advancedparanormal.com. If you go out to the shop tab, right there's a link out to the TeePublic site where you can get all sorts of really cool things like the Supernatural Hour tapestry that we have.
I just like saying tapestry.
Tapestry.
Not only tapestry, we have ordered a new tapestry for Advanced Paranormal. AdvancedParanormal.com. So hopefully the next time we meet, we'll have the Advanced Paranormal tapestry
We'll have
up in our
two
studio.
tapestries.
In the attic of despair.
Will be a dual tapestry podcast.
I like it.
And there's mugs, there's all sorts of things that you can get out there. So go out, and if you like our Supernatural Hour logo, get that. You can also get Advanced Paranormal stuff. Drop ships right to your place.
We've also got a shop out there where we've got some sage spray, some different types of sage rollers. We've got some cleansing kits. So just go out there, take a look at the different things that we've created. Let us know if you've got some ideas of some other things that we can create, because those are all house made, and we're just trying to help you to feel protected out there.
And then, last but not least, if you are on TikTok or Instagram, so are we. Advanced.paranormal. If you look for us there, you'll find them, and the fabulous videos that I post.
And they are thrillers.
Right. And if you hate them, you can send hate mail to castle at
Something.
Wisps.com.
And don't forget our YouTube channel. Subscribe at Advanced Paranormal. I think that's where we are. It's just Advanced Paranormal for our YouTube channel.
I think we've got about 70 subscribers. We need to get 30 more so that we can get a real name.
Yeah, so get your friends on there. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, share our information with your friends. We really appreciate it. That's one of the most important things you can do for us.
And then just a little shout out to some of the friends of Advanced Paranormal, and we really appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. There's the Barbary Coast, which we're going to go to in June. We talked about that earlier. There's Dalton's Steakhouse in Payson, and he also has some taco restaurants.
Oteo in Orem.
Yes,
It's delicious.
they're amazing. You've been there.
I have.
We've been there. They're very good. There is Castle's Nature Studio. He is taking some really amazing outdoor photos of, well, nature.
Outdoor photos of nature.
He has a studio?
Congratulations.
I am just the pillar of intelligence here today. But things like, I mean, he loves Yellowstone. So there's a lot of Yellowstone pictures and pictures of lakes and forests and mountains and animals, and they're really, really good.
If you go to our Advanced Paranormal page, you can, right on the first page at the bottom, there's a list of these, and you can go to links to these different areas. So,
Yep. And then there's Boar Off-Road. It's the backcountry off-road adventure rally. It's a jeeping group, and they're actually the group that's going to come out and help us at Merker Cemetery. They're a fabulous bunch of people. And then last but not least,
Utah Freeze Dried for Pets / Rescue Pets Bathhouse.
I had to have the actual owner do her own commercial. All right, stay spooky, my haunty friends.
I love you, Nicholas.
hey, good night.
Oh, am I supposed to say something? My bad. Good night, everyone.
You've been listening to the Supernatural Hour at AdvancedParanormal.com. The Supernatural Hour is part of the Radio Ronin network found at RadioRonin.com. Copyright 2021 by Advanced Paranormal Services.